Welcome everyone to Young at Heart, session number 65 here on Friday, May 15th, 2020. I'm Father James DeLucio with the Paulist Fathers with a number of Mother Goose nursery rhymes for us today. Two of the rhymes specifically deal with pigs, those creatures that are known to be most intelligent and who suffer for our sake, so that we carnivores may have some protein. I mention them particularly because of the tragic news in the newspapers the past day or two that so many of the pig farmers are euthanizing their pigs and burning them or burying them because there's not enough orders for the pigs as usual. All the restaurants being closed, and I guess in our homes we might still be consuming a considerable amount of pork, but not to the extent as before. It can make us humble that really so much of creation is solely for our benefit so that we live and thrive. And animal rights people are, of course, rightfully concerned, as I am. The only thing that I hope is, like so many things, that from tragedy, from the ashes, come some new way of thinking, a resurrection. And perhaps by those pigs who've been euthanized, we get a sense of not raising so many pigs, more than the world needs, and to allow them to be out in pastures or in large barns where they have a normal life, that they can be out in corrals, I guess is where you keep pigs. And so we'll consume less pork, but there'll be the pigs that are killed ultimately for our nutrition will have a decent life. I think that's been a long-standing advocacy to let the animals that are part of our food have a fair life, a normal life, a natural life before we have to take them as our food. So here we go. This one is a bit morbid, but as all nursery rhymes are meant to be funny as well. The scholars tell us this is so children won't have a fear of death, can also sort of laugh in the face of death and find it kind of funny, just in the sense of Peekaboo, for the youngest children, the toddlers and younger, especially I think when we first, as infants, maybe at age 6 months or more, when that sense of Peekaboo, the child only can see what's right in front of them. So if our face is gone, they think we're gone. And then our face is all they intake. So then we suddenly appear, Peekaboo, Peekaboo. And so, in a sense, with the humor of death. So I dedicate this to the pig farmers, the pigs, and a change in the way we handle animals for our food, while we laugh in the face of death. It's called Betty Winkle's Pig. Oops, ready? Little Betty Winkle had a little pig. It was a little pig, not very big. When he was alive, he lived in clover, but now he's dead, and that's all over. Johnny Winkle, he sat down and cried. Betty Winkle, she lay down and died. So there was an end of 1, 2, and 3. Johnny Winkle, he, Betty Winkle, she, and Peggy Wiggy, 3. Should we read that one again? I think I could read it better. Let's see. Little Betty Winkle, she had a little pig. It was a little pig, not very big. When he was alive, he lived in clover, but now he's dead, and that's all over. Johnny Winkle, he sat down and cried. Betty Winkle, she lay down and died. So there was an end of 1, 2, and 3. Johnny Winkle, he, Betty Winkle, she, and Piggy Wiggy, 3. Well, it's good to laugh in the face of death. So there we have it. 3 brethren out of Spain, and most obscure another Mother Goose rhyme. We are 3 brethren out of Spain, come to court your daughter Jane. My daughter Jane, she is too young, she has no skill or a flattering tongue. Be she young or be she old, it is for her gold she must be sold. So fare ye well, my lady gay, we'll come again another day. Turn back, thou scornful knight, and rub thy spurs till they be bright. Of my spurs take you no thought, for in this land they were not bought. So fare ye well, my lady gay, we'll come again another day. Turn back now, thou scornful knight, and take the fairest in thy sight. The fairest maid that I can see is pretty Nancy. Come with me. Well, at least they left poor young Jane alone. She was too young to go off to be married anyway. And here, of course, we have that terrible what's the word I want? I can't think of the word, but I'm sharing with you my dilemma so we can celebrate our foolishness. Maybe that's the theme for today. Insinuation, that's the word I want. The insinuation here is, of course, that brides can be bought or acquired for money. It's pretty awful. It's the dark side of the institution of marriage. Thankfully, we have a sacramental sense of the institution of marriage much better, that married couples participate in God and God's love and God's forgiveness, both required. If you've ever heard me preach, I'll often preach on the importance of a new word that I've invented, I think. Love forgiveness. It's one word. You can't have one without the other in this life. So we might as well put it in the same as the same word. Love forgiveness. Do you love forgiveness? I make it my goal. Am I always good at it? No, but I love forgive myself, and then I continue to try to offer love forgiveness to you. The Lady and the Swine, our next piggy-oriented poem. There was a lady, loved a swine. Honey, quoth she, pig hog, wilt thou be mine? Ho, quoth he. I'll build thee a silver sty, honey, quoth she, and in it thou shalt lie. Ho, quoth he. Pinned with a silver pin, honey, quoth she, that thou mayest go out and in? Quoth he. Wilt thou not have me, honey? Quoth she. Quoth he, and went his way. Now there's a smart pig. What else would that lady want but a good roast pork dinner? And so, however much she loved him, and calling him honey, was that the kind of sauce she was going to make for that poor piggy? I don't know. I once saw a sow with all her babies in a farm zoo I think it was in Minnesota. She was huge, and there's so many little babies. And it was sad because I know what their destiny would be, and we also know how smart they are, pigs. Again, we continue to pray that we'll treat animals that must be killed for our food with a greater sense of reverence, thanksgiving, and offer them a more joyful life before they serve our needs. The Jolly Miller. This is a wonderful, wonderful cynical poem. There was a jolly miller once lived on the River Dee. He worked and sang from morn till night, no lark so blithe as he, and this the burden of his song forever used to be. I care for nobody, no, not I, and nobody cares for me. I guess, like laughing in the face of death, if we lower our expectations and somebody does finally care for us, we're totally taken unawares. We're just totally amazed. Well, I've given us something to chew on in addition to pork. And then, of course, we recall in the gospel when Jesus lets the demon go into a herd of swine. I always felt sorry for the pigs in that story, too. Well, I guess it's time to bring our session to a close. Thank you for joining me. If you're wondering why I'm wearing the University of West Virginia t-shirt, is when I offer missions. Sometimes the people in the parish will give me a popular t-shirt from their town, or if it's a university town. And so I have several of them, different ones. It was a sad time, though, when I was there in West Virginia. It was during the opioid epidemic, and a good portion of the town had succumbed to that terrible affliction. Many were veterans who were in a lot of pain and got addicted to the opioids for their pain. And so we prayed for them throughout the mission, and still with the sense of hope that in time we'd be more responsible, the medical community and the local communities, in handling pain management and the terrible scourge of drugs. So let's pause with a little prayer for changes in our world, in medicine, in the food industry, and the nurturing of animals, in animal husbandry, I believe they call it. God bless all those involved. We pray for conversion of heart and new compassionate ways in dealing with all our problems. And meanwhile, I invite you to stay healthy, keep safe, and God bless. Bye, everyone.